It's shoppers or shopping behaviour that creates availability to consume. And shopping behaviour is different, just is. Yeah? We're not thinking necessarily about the same things when we're shopping. Now we have an idea, we used to call it the path to purchase. It's called the path to purchase in the book. We've now stopped calling it the path to purchase because everybody has a path to purchase and they're all different. And we're not trying to say this is the path to purchase, we're trying to say this is the sorts of behaviour that are easily recognisable when people are shopping. So the first thing that happens is that shoppers interpret their consumer desire. Now, if it's me thinking about myself, I have a pretty clear idea of what I want in most cases. But if I were to say to my wife, darling, could you get me some beer when you're shopping today? She might have a very, very different perception of my needs and desires. And actually, in fact, she's more than likely to overlay her needs and desires, which are probably about me not falling asleep in front of the TV or getting any fatter. Yeah? So she will interpret beer differently to the way I interpret beer. She will then say, well, I'm going to include beer in all of the other things that I need to get. And I have limited time, because I have a life and a job too, thanks very much, Toby. And therefore, I am going to overlay my needs as a shopper, and that is going to help me to make a decision about which outlet I go to. And when I get into that outlet and I'm looking for beer, I'm going to navigate the aisles. Morning. Nice to have you with us. I'm going to navigate the aisles and I'm going to find the place where they sell beer. I'm going to find the solution to my needs. And then when I'm standing in front of the beer, there's going to be a whole bunch of different brands competing for my attention. I'm going to select one or two if I'm really lucky. And then I'm going to go and buy it. These are all decisions that we can influence. If I say to my wife, I want a specific brand of beer, or she says to herself, I want to buy a specific brand of beer, right at the beginning of that journey, the probability of her concluding that journey with that brand is higher than if she were to say, I just want generic beer. Because all of those different decisions are available for influence. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, if that's true, we spend our money as an industry, those $320 billion, mostly at that point in the journey. Mostly. We do also a lot of work with consumers, yeah? But mostly we spend our money down here. That means that we're waiting almost to the very last minute to try and influence somebody's behaviour. Right at the point where all sorts of other decisions have been made. Which might be the reason why we fail so often. Fail to make money so often. So when you're starting to think about a brand and think about how you're going to put together a brand in the future, you have to think about these behaviours. And it's complicated because in reality the behaviours of consumers and shoppers intertwine. Now, there used to be a lot of work done by shopper marketing agencies saying that the consumer and the shopper are different. And most marketeers said, no, they're not. You know, we've got women who buy lipstick for themselves. There are no men buying lipstick for them. Well, there are very few men buying lipstick for themselves. And therefore, how can you say that the consumer and shopper are different, as in different people? And the only thing I would say to that is the consumer and shopper are different behaviours. They can be the same person or they can be different. They're just different behaviours. And therefore they do kind of intermesh and intertwine. But given that those behaviours are so different and so open to different influences, it makes sense for you to configure your brand to address those differences.